Still have to kind of still dry them out, shake them off, and learn how to fly. Yeah. Very good. All right. Yeah, you can, Michael Snowplow, you can come somewhere. Very good. Nice to see that people brought extra family today.
Yeah.
That's very cool. What if the whole point of living a spiritual and religious life really had very little to do with what scriptures you know, or what rules you might follow, or whether you can do a perfect 5-step treatment or not? What if it was really only about waking up? That's what I'm talking about today. There's a legend about Siddhartha Gautama, also known as the Buddha, that after he had his enlightenment, he was asked, "Are you a king?" He said, "No." Well, he's walking around, he's teaching his enlightened things. People said, "Are you a god?" He said, "No." I said, "Then what are you?" He said, "I'm awake." I can be like Tina and say, "Thank you, okay, you're done now." I'm awake. So simple, yes? Why so hard? I don't know. That's what we're going to talk about today. So, I'm awake. It really doesn't matter if we can do a perfect, scriptural recitation, or whether we can do a perfect 5-step treatment. Look at right now, springtime. Look at all of the ritual and all of the evidence and all of the symbolism of waking up. We have springtime. We've got all the trees coming alive and the flowers coming alive. I remember my tree out in front that it went from one day having, oh look, the little buds, and within 3 days it's like full-blown leaves all over it, just that quick. The little birdies in the backyard, it's just like life wants to wake up. Even the weeds come through the cracks of the cement. Can't hold it back. Life wants to come up, and it's coming up this time after the winter. And yes, people say we don't have winter in California, but we have enough winter to notice the difference when spring comes, in my opinion. The symbols want to just keep emerging and emerging and emerging. We've got more sunlight on the planet. We see all kinds of pagan evidence. Pagan is not a bad word. It just means the people a long, long time ago who lived with nature. Bunnies and eggs that got connected to Easter. Bunnies and eggs are symbols of fertility. Everybody knows that thing about bunnies, right? Yeah. I don't need to say it. Yeah. Bunnies are about fertility. Eggs are about fertility. We give children Easter baskets full of these things. Do they know what it means? No, it's candy. That's all we care about. It's candy. In our culture, though, we see the symbol of that, and to really remember why? It's rebirth. It's springtime. It's fertility. It's pagan festivals that happen. The pagan festivals happened long before the whole story about the resurrection, Kind of got laid on top to try to convert people to Christianity. And so it's no accident that the story of Jesus' death and Jesus' resurrection are at the same time that the pagan festivals of fertility and rebirth are happening, because people literally who were following Jesus and trying to promote Christianity said, let's put it around the same time so we can get people to convert. It's all right, they all work together. No matter which side of it you come from, they're all working together. It reminds us that after the winter, we're going to get the spring, that when we have the darkness, we're going to get the light again. We see it literally on our planet. After the darkness, we're going to get the light again. But it also is for us. So the story of Jesus' death and Jesus' resurrection, whether it's a literal story or whether it's an allegory, is up for debate. And you can think and believe whatever you would like to. I'm not here to tell you which way to look at that. It's up to you. But in this philosophy, whether it's literal or whether it's an allegory, it really doesn't matter that much. In this philosophy, it's all about the meaning. It's all about the message. Whether the story is actually true or not. But let's see what we can find inside of the story. So Ernest Holmes, our founder, if you're not familiar with him, he says this about being the Christ, the Christhood. He says, there's no one particular man predestined to become the Christ. We understand that Christ is not a person, but a principle. The principle of God within. It was impossible for Jesus, the man, not to have become the Christ, as the human gave way to the divine, as the man gave way to God, as the flesh gave way to spirit, as the will of division gave way to the will of unity. Jesus, the man, became a living embodiment of the Christ. If we can look upon Jesus from this viewpoint, we shall be able to study his life as a living example. As a living example. In this philosophy, we say he's not the great exception, that he certainly is a great example to follow. He, Jesus himself said, greater things than I'm doing, you're going to do. He didn't say that he was the only one. But Ernest Holmes is saying that what Jesus knew, what he understood about the will of division giving way to the will of unity, the will of just the humanness giving way to the spiritualness, that that's true for all of us. That's a great message. That's meaning that we can tuck in, that we can let the will of division go by the wayside so that the will of unity can come into our awareness and our consciousness. We can let the idea that we are simply this human flesh and blood give way to the idea that we are divine beings. That's a powerful message. One of my colleagues, Reverend Kathy Hearn, she used to have the church down in San Diego that was called, I don't remember. Doesn't matter. There's a few of them down there. But at this point, she is not in a pulpit. She is the dean of the San Diego campus. She was also at one time our spiritual leader. So our organization has about 400 churches and 50-some teaching chapters and worldwide. And we always have a spiritual leader who's at the top of that. She was the top of that at one point. She was our leader. If you've ever met her, you know she was a very graceful woman, very articulate. She wrote something that I took a few excerpts from because she wrote it so beautifully, I couldn't have said it any better. So I'm going to read to you what she wrote. Along these lines of becoming the Christ, along these lines of dying to the old and being born to the new. She said, I don't have to worry about the steps. She says, today we are joining with many people in the world. Today we are joining with many people in the world in observance of Easter, honoring the events of 2017 plus years ago that are an important center for the Christian faith. We bring to this observance a metaphysical interpretation that allows us to embrace spiritual meaning and principles above the literal level of the story and to find personal resonance, relevance, and transformation. The mystical tradition holds that anyone walking the path of awakening toward full realization of our oneness with God and our divine identity will at some point and in some way personally live the various stages in the story of Jesus' life. Each step represents a natural and inevitable step in the journey toward the realization of the Christ truth, the divine truth of our being. Indeed, she says, we have all had a divine birth, as spirit taking on form as us. We have all had a King Herod figure in our families or our lives who sought to deny our uniqueness and divinity. We have all had years of wandering in the wilderness, when purpose was only dimly heard and understood, if at all. We've all had moments of baptism, feeling the call of something greater within, and dedicating ourselves to live this truth at all costs. We've all had moments when tempted to give up our resolve, to fall into the inertia of the past, expectations of our family, voices of doubt within and around us. We've had recommitments to live the life and the mission for which we were born. Times of deep questioning and deep doubt, wishing to get out of the assignment and not face what it takes to move forward. We've all had betrayals, literal ones, and times when everything other than the God that we looked to for comfort and meaning fell away, died, or emptied out. We've had crucifixions, the unstructuring and dismantling of our lives, dying to our limitations rather than dying from them one more time. And then by grace and the power of renewal, we have been lifted up, rewoven,